What's up, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Happy Halloween. It's my first Halloween in solitary confinement, so I thought I'd dress up for the occasion in what I was gonna wear for the party I was gonna throw. Airline pilot. Anyway, getting into this story, Teen Mom 2 stars Briana and Kail are yet again at odds, you guys, and Briana is pulling no punches when it comes to talking about Kail's recent arrest. I have to say before I even jump into it that Briana, we all know how you are, girl. You were probably, mum's the word when you were actually face to face with Kail. Probably said one slick line under your breath and kept it moving. But online, she is really going off in true Briana fashion when no one can, really confront her face to face. So she posted on her Instagram timeline yesterday a really long excerpt of her overall dragging of Kail. She actually said, and I quote, "While one would think Kail would be more concerned with her recent arrest or selling her foot pics on OnlyFans, we had an encounter at the reunion yesterday, and it's safe to say SHIT got awkward. She is immature, has not grown, and is still so hot and bothered by my presence, it's laughable. So I'm telling all regarding what went on, and hopefully it airs in full, as you'll see her for the petty person she continues to be. I'll continue living life in my own lane with a man who loves me and makes me happy and doesn't lay his hands on me. Sending lots of love in her dark direction, XO Brie." First of all, how nasty of a woman do you have to be to make a joke about another woman being a victim of domestic violence, being allegedly attacked by her partner? You're not getting beaten up by your own boyfriend until you're getting beaten up by your own boyfriend. Words like this will always come back to haunt you, Briana. And it's so ironic that it's in the same sentence that she's talking about how Kail is living in a dark direction, she hasn't grown, and she's petty. You're making fun of domestic violence. You have not grown. You're living in a dark place. What? You're petty. And the gag is that Briana, this man who was allegedly laying hands on Kail, is the same man that you've been creeping on Instagram, all the while you've had a boyfriend who quote unquote loves you. It was literally just the other month that you were in Chris's mentions, sending kissy face emojis. You were tweeting about how he's hot, blah, blah, blah. Examine your head, because there's nothing up there, clearly. Anyway, when it comes to what got Briana all upset and agitated by Kail, it seems like she's obsessed with her, you guys. She's upset that Kail did not acknowledge her at the Teen Mom 2 reunion. She said, and I quote, "The reunion was super awkward in general, especially during the last segment, which is when we were brought out all together, virtually, of course. This was obviously the first time Kail and I had appeared on camera together since our infamous reunion fight, which, by the way, occurred years ago, to me at least, is in the long past." Apparently, Dr. Drew asked Kail how it felt to see Briana, face to face, virtually anyway, and Kail said that she didn't care to comment on it. She continued on to say, and I quote, "I've been clear in the past that I'm over the drama from years past, so I decided to pipe in to comment. I told Kail that it wasn't that serious. I was happy to see her and wish her nothing but the best going forward. At that point, Kail still refused to comment and didn't say anything." Listen, Briana, Kail has a right to not talk to you if she doesn't want to. What you did was low down and trifling. Sure, you guys weren't best friends or co-workers in the regular sense of the word, but you knew of each other. You were around her when she was with her husband and her kids and everything like that. And all the while you were plotting to creep up on him behind her back. Of course she doesn't want to talk to you. Her kids were involved. You guys had her kids in matching shirts with your kids and all this mess and stuff like that. And you never came to her properly as a woman. You behaved like a coward about it, just the same way that Javi did. You were both cowards. You were both trifling. You were both messy in that situation. And she has every right to not want to talk to you or not want to see you or anything like that, because at the end of the day, you're slimy. And not only that, but you continued on with the next guy that she was with, Chris Lopez. Like I said earlier in the video, Briana has been in Chris Lopez's Instagram comments thirst trapping for him. She's been tweeting about how hot this guy is. So there's clearly a pattern with Briana antagonizing Kail, and now here she is trying to play victim because Kail won't talk to her. Kail doesn't have to talk to you. You're a weirdo. You're a stalker. You're a single white female. Stop it. You know, like, and she's acting like all of this is in the past for her. Clearly it's not, because here she is creeping up on Chris and saying really disgusting things about Kail allegedly being a victim of domestic violence. Like, no, you're not this above it all person that you want people to believe you are. You're literally just obsessed with this girl and you want her attention, and you're throwing a tantrum because she didn't give it to you. And I'm mad that you've got me defending Kail, Petty Betty of all freaking people, but you know you're stupid when I have to take up for Petty Betty over you. And then she just continues to sink lower and lower with her statement. She goes, "It's clear she still has a grudge against me, which given the news of her arrest yesterday, one would think she'd have better things to worry about, like dealing with the courts for allegedly beating her baby daddy instead of me. But Kail will be Kail, and there's no changing that, and frankly, I don't care to. I kept it classy, and she kept it exactly what would be expected. She's immature and shows no growth. It's sad." Honestly, if you ask me, the fact that Kail had no comment to say about Briana versus the way she behaved last reunion, where she was chasing Briana around, you know, backstage, trying to fight her, lacing up her shoes, tying up her hair, everything, I would say that that is some sort of growth there. It's Briana who really is like a dog with a bone about this situation with Kail. You know what I mean? And hate to see it. I truly do hate to see it. She really lost me when she led with making fun of Kail for allegedly being assaulted by Chris. After that, I was like, listen, Bri, you're straight up trash. You know, like, this is not something to joke about. And everything else that you have to say after this is useless, because you've already shot yourself when it comes to, you know, your credibility or anything like that. And then when you actually read the issue that she has with Kail, it's that Kail didn't acknowledge her. Like, why don't you move on? Why don't you get a grip? Why don't you find something else to do? Why don't you worry yourself with that man who lives all the way in New York that you've probably never even met, who you claim is so in love with you? You know, you should be happy with that. Anyway, she spilled at least a little bit of tea at the reunion about the reunion that went down. She says that it seems like all of the friend groups kind of like fell out. She says, remember how Kail was really tight with Leah? Then Kail also had another relationship where she was really tight with Chelsea. Well, apparently none of them are really talking anymore. It's only Jade and Briana that are quite close now. But I'm not surprised, honestly, with the way Kail's life has been headed. I don't see Chelsea wanting to attach herself to Kail, because Chelsea's really image conscious and Kail is a wrecking ball. Like, her life has been playing out very tragically over the past year, and that's not something that most people would want to be associated with. And then when it comes to Leah, I assume Leah is probably really busy with all this stuff. You know, she's got twins and she's got another daughter as well. She's got 3 kids. Then, you know, her sister has a newborn with no baby daddy to help. So she's kind of like stepping in there to help her sister a lot. We're seeing her, her sister, a lot in this season of Teen Mom 2 and Leah's involvement with that. And then Kail, of course, having 4 boys, this newborn one, and then she's got a toddler as well. The newborn and the toddler, she's got like full-time, I was gonna say alone, but she's got a live-in nanny, actually 2 live-in nannies, but you know, that's probably keeping her busy as well, and stalking Chris Lopez on social media and keeping up with her criminal situation. Guys, what do you think about the way Briana has been hammering after Kail, calling her all kinds of immature, petty, etc., simply for refusing to really acknowledge her all that much at the reunion? Was it fair for Briana to make fun of Kail for being an alleged victim of domestic violence? And for having an OnlyFans? I mean, Briana, you're tweeting about like men spitting in your you-know-what for free on Twitter. You might as well, you know, have people pay for your, you know, TMI and nastiness on OnlyFans. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Make sure to let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. And as usual, we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.